and it's like reality TV, which is the least real thing, though it's actually, it's kind of a cool thing too. But I mean, it's in a way it's the least real thing, where you use all of these skills of filmmaking to make it look like you're not using the skills of filmmaking, and for what? For filler, like between South Park episodes is kind of what I've landed on, and it's like, I mean, I don't know. Not, I mean, there's a lot of people with that level of skill. It's not like it's super special, but if you're the one with it, you want to do something special with it, And he went in with the Amazing Atheist. It's just,
well, again, like I said,
that's what Watt internet fame does.
I just, I think it's, to me it's understandable. Just because, like I said, I don't think he has the confidence to do much else.
Yes, it's predictable. It is predictable. I wasn't surprised in that sense. I was just sort of sad for him,
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to have too much empathy because he has played people and played the game, so much, and there's a certain I mean I find people that are in constant transition who preach at other people to be really, really irritating.
So, Gary, should I kick people like that? Because that's my inclination. I mean, somebody already did. But,
yeah, I kicked them, but yeah, no, you're free to, clean up what we must clean up. I mean, unless it's, unless she's really hot,
Well, that's what I wonder, because, I mean, I've noticed, as much as you seem to be biased in that direction, I have seen you break that rule many a time.
Well, I know which ones aren't going to go anywhere, you know what I mean? There's some that you might be able to get some play out of, and then there's others that, they're just, there's nothing to salvage.
But I mean, think about it. What if Cody decided, hey, I have this thing, I want to sell my skill, I can't pretend that I'm going to hit it rich with all the talented people. There are so many people besides the Amazing Atheist. I mean, even you, or he could have hit up all kinds of people like, I will do, but no, and, and 100,000 people, I mean, for atheists, okay. But for YouTube, that's nothing. He could be marketing himself to the, it's like, the thing is about people that sell out, it's like, sell out good, sell out for real, where you can feed your goddamn kids. You can't sell out for some guy barely making a bare living, probably not quite making a living. And it's like, if you decided, hey, I'll help these people vlog, I understand it, okay. But the Amazing Atheist, and just also, when Cody, back when I was still watching him sometimes, I mean, I never really did, but I was paying attention to him as a periphery. There's a point at which, okay, I mean, maybe he's going to say, hey, YouTube, I understand it. But the Amazing Atheist, I mean, he could have fucking moved to New York and helped Tommy from the Bronx make a film. Somebody who actually can write a script. Somebody who has actually some sort of a creative fucking thing, and
yeah, that's sort of a good.
Not that I had
that's sort of a good point. Just because that's what Tommy could have really used, was somebody who had that capacity, to maybe do a little better editing, maybe find the better angles, suggest other people, how to shoot themselves a little better. Because Tommy did do, there was substance there that wasn't gleaned just because of the fact that it was a little too B movie.
Yeah, he could help people do vlogging, but like with Tommy also has a book and a script. And his piece for Tommy was pretty good.
Come in here?
I didn't like it particularly. It's not my style of what I want to watch, but I could recognize, well, that's some cinematography and stuff, and it expresses what Tommy's writing and his thing. I mean, the guy could have gone and done that. And there's 20 to 50, YouTubers doing that kind of thing, more than me. We're not just blogging, but, they're trying to do some filmmaking stuff. Or Tommy himself has done some decent filmmaking, but, it could use this kind of polish and this artista kind of thing that, Cody had a little bit of. And, yeah, it's sad because the atheist community, as you pointed out when you were complaining about, I don't even want to be an atheist, I need a new word. There's people in the atheist community that you could help that way, and I don't know, because of my philosophy of art kind of orientation, I'm sort of over analytical and the rest about this kind of thing, and I just see that if somebody can make a 2-minute bit of film that is actually, consciously thought about, then that's a skill. And there are people that need that skill. There's writers, there's people trying to make vids, and I don't know, to make like a subpar reality TV sort of vlogging thing about some guy that even admits he doesn't fucking believe what he says. I mean, it's just, it's definitely sad, but I'm repeating myself, I guess. We should go on to something else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess they got the documentary in the works, and they got this other stuff in the works. So, maybe he'll come up with, maybe he'll make a contribution to that and whatever. It might be good experience and so all that shit. So, there might be some value to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of mixed on my appreciation for his work.
Well, I mean, I don't enjoy
I'm not
that
saying I have
genre.
an eye for
His
everything.
genre and his angst and all that, I don't get. But I think the guy has an aesthetic taste. He thinks about the camera angles. I think he understands lighting and a lot of these subtle things that, are hard to care about. And so that's what I'm basing my opinion on.
I just think he's always had sort of a mixed identity on where he wanted to go. I mean, it's 1 minute it's lollipops, the next minute it's a shotgun blowing your brains out. So it was always sort of a weird. I mean, it's hard to know what part of that is sincere. And it's like any artist when they're not being sincere, it compromises what they're working on.
Well, it's a lot of American
again,
angst, like Rebel Without a Cause stuff, right? So, I mean, to really succeed with something good, yeah, he would have to move to New York or LA or even, I don't know, fucking Philadelphia or Seattle, where there's people that also have, partial skills that they need filled out. I think if he made a whole film on his own, it would be hard to succeed for him that way. But it's just some poor kid. I have a lot of sympathy for some poor kid in kind of a podunk kind of situation that has a better vision than, like, say, everybody else at his high school, in terms of, not that he has the right idea, but that he actually, at least he has one.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's lots. I mean, he's not an unappealing personality. I mean, there's substance there, pieces of it anyway. So, I mean, I can't say I haven't. I mean, I have that hot and cold kind of, thing with Kobe. So, he definitely wasn't a character I ignored. So yeah, there has to be something there for me to give a shit at all. But I guess, like I said, there's just these little bits in my head that just are so, the taint, and I guess I have to get rid of that taint. I mean, I just don't like some of his personal lifestyle choices were just so fucking irresponsible and reckless.
Oh yeah, total. And also, if he was making a film and I were to judge just that film, I'm sure that I would not really appreciate it. I mean, I think, it's just like arbitrarily. It's Rebel Without a Cause stuff. I mean, it's Rebel Without a Cause stuff if left to himself. But if he's willing to give the skills he does have to somebody else, there's a lot of people in this country, that need a guy that wants to shoot, and that need a guy that wants to figure out if the lighting is palatable enough, and that if the color tone is going to work on the whole frame. And he obviously has that. He's thought a lot about that, and I think he has that under control. And but I mean, I attribute it to this low wattage internet fame, which is why you and I differ on how useful it is to get a large audience. You know, it's this low wattage internet fame thing really goes to people's head. They don't even make a living, and yet they're just as sucked up in the celebrity of it from having 100,000 people or 500,000 people know about him, you know, as anyone else. And really, you know, who's really done anything like notable in satire and stuff? It's either people that already had a career, or, you know, like Dax Flame. I mean, you know, I think that guy created a great character and showed that, you know, for a 16-year-old, he could probably go somewhere. And, you know, it's not The Amazing Atheist. I mean, a guy, when I first saw The Amazing Atheist, it's like, and I'm very open-minded. It's like, I don't mind where you are, what you're doing. But this guy literally making films from his parents' garage. You know, I mean, a lot of his popularity is the, you know, the Beck I'm a loser thing, you know, and that I'm a loser too. Well, it just doesn't, it's not going to work for many people, you know, that level of, you know. And also The Amazing Atheist, for anybody that actually understands film, it's like this guy, his popularity is limited. That tone he uses and the cadence that he uses is super limited. I mean, it's very limited. Like, I don't even know how to describe that cadence, but it is so annoying, so full of himself, and yet so, like, you can tell that, even if it's subconscious and people don't know they can tell, I believe everybody can tell how limited that message is, you know?
Yeah, well, I think I agree with you on a lot of points there. I mean, I think he's trying to do like the Howard Stern kind of thing, you know, because that's sort of how Howard Stern made himself, was being this underdog character, you know, portraying himself as this loser. So he's playing it from that role. But yeah, he doesn't have, you know, as much as he has some sort of charisma, he has too many defects. You know, he is too affected, even the way he talks, you just cadence, but just also he has a little bit of a slur, or whatever you call that. You know, there's a little bit of a gayness that's going on there too, and different other things that just aren't going to work, I don't think.
Howard Stern's a perfect example. Howard Stern's a perfect example, because it's like some guy that's like, I'm a loser and I'm okay with it. My penis is small and I'm not okay with it, but, you know, I'm obviously okay with it because, you know, and he has a sort of a very straightforward way of presenting that. Whereas The Amazing Atheist is kind of, you know, his whole presentation is sort of like, I'm full of myself, as well as being willing to exploit the fact that people love when you say you're a loser. And he doesn't really think he's a loser. He's fucking egotistical. He was probably spoiled, and he's obviously was privileged, and you know what I mean? It just doesn't add up.
Like I said, I don't see him being able to fill those shoes in a lot of different categories, and I don't think he's not every man funny. He's, you know, he's stand-up comic funny. You know, I mean, he's got to write the joke. He can't, you know what I mean? I mean, Howard Stern could do sort of you know what I mean? Howard Stern could do this talk thing and make jokes, where I don't think The Amazing Atheist, yeah, I mean, Amazing Atheist would die in this medium. I mean, he would just suffocate in this medium.
I've seen a couple of his
on a radio
TV
show
things, and he definitely isn't that funny.
He can interact with other people, you know, and you have to be able to do that, I think, to sustain something. You know, you can do I'll produce it myself, from inside of myself, and you can do that monologue for only so long, and then it's just a monologue, you know. It just, so, well, you know, like I said, I just don't see it happening, but I am surprised by how the whole thing does. You know, that whole idea of popularity breeds popularity. I mean, once somebody has that air of authority or substantialness, people are just drawn to it. Like